The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no A's. Nah, I couldn't be there. Nah, you shouldn't be scared. I'm good at repairs and I'm under each snare. Intangible that you didn't think, so I command you to. Panoramic view, look, I'll make it all manageable. Pick and choose, sit and lose, all you different crews. Chicks and dudes, who you think is really kicking
stately Garden of Stone, now a religious battleground. Right now it doesn't look like much. If all goes as planned, construction could begin by July 1st. And all along the state has maintained this is a debate about history, not religion. But those parties filing suit today say it is precisely the opposite. In 1991, Stephen Schroeder went to jail for defacing and toppling the old monument.
This is not getting discussed in the mainstream media. Not only are they wrong, the fact that you do this is outrageous. This is an overreaction and really nonsense. How would you react if this was your son or your daughter? You make self-confidence to increase the offense of having a home privilege. You say God blesses someone. It's not a violation of the law. It's the foundation of our legal system. Part of the history and heritage of this great nation. We're talking about the Ten Commandments, now under attack in communities across America. The American Center for Law and Justice is working aggressively to protect the public display of the Ten Commandments, and now the issue is before the Supreme Court of the United States. The ACLJ has filed critical friend of the court briefs with the Supreme Court outlining a detailed historical look at the importance that the commandments have played in the development of our legal system. Now this unique brief can be yours, free of charge. We want you to have this special collector's edition copy of our Supreme Court brief. It will make an excellent resource for you and your family. Get the Ten Commandments brief right now by calling 1-877-989-2255. Your free copy of our Supreme Court brief by calling 1-877-989-2255.
Court to protect your liberties, and if anyone knows how to win, it's Jay. That's why we have to stand with Mr. Schroeder, and as you can imagine, thousands of hours of pressure going into that case, and the resources are limited. But you stand with us and help us with a gift of $100 or $200, it's our last chance.
Well, I can't really help you out until I know that you guys understand what you're doing, because desecrating the Ten Commandments is a crime punishable by death. We had a governor here in Indiana, Governor O'Bannon, and I warned him. I gave him a letter saying, you need to be afraid because the Ten Commandments isn't something you can mess with. You can't add graven images to it. You can't take certain scripture out. They removed the second commandment at the Ten Commandments here. And then they inscribed a graven image of a pagan god right on the tablets. That's desecrating and profaning the sacred text, and I don't think Jay would really, if he really thought about it, would be promoting, having our sacred text desecrated.
It affects everything from patriotic expression to the veterans of foreign war monuments, and by the way, all of these groups are filed in our case. Everybody, welcome to a very special broadcast for the ACLJ. Now, you were saying you don't look like you're in your radio studio, you don't look like you're in your offices in Washington, D.C., but let me tell you where we are. We are in the Pleasant Grove City in Utah. The most significant case in the country in order to preserve our heritage, whether it's Ten Commandment displays, whether it's September 11th Memorial, whether it's Veterans of Foreign War Memorials, is being challenged right here in Pleasant Grove City. Now it's on its way to the Supreme Court of the United States. In fact, it has been granted. We have filed our opening sets of briefs. We will be arguing the case. I'll be presenting those oral arguments on November 12th. So there is really a lot at stake right now in Pleasant Grove. Now, you're looking at Fraternal Orders of Eagle Monument. This is representative of literally thousands of these monuments that have been given and distributed throughout the United States. Thousands and thousands of them. This is the actual Fraternal Order of Eagles Monument. You'll see here it was presented to the city of Pleasant Grove in Utah County, Utah, by the Fraternal Order of Eagles in 1971. We met with the former mayor, talked about the great work the Fraternal Order of Eagles had done. They've been challenged once at the Supreme Court of the United States under church-state separation. We carried the day there, and the monuments were allowed to stay. those who are opposed to these kind of displays, the Ten Commandment display, or even the September 11th memorial display, which we'll see a little bit later in the broadcast, those that were opposed to this have taken the position that if you allow this monument to stand up with the Ten Commandments, you're required to put up a message contrary to those Ten Commandments. If you have a message in favor of and honoring the people that lost their lives on September 11th, you must put up a monument dedicated to Al-Qaeda, who conducted that act, that terrorism act. Now, as strange as that sounds, that's what the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit has said. We make a statement that if the 10th Circuit Appeals decision stands, which says if you've got one monument, you must allow this other counter message. At Liberty Park, and see the Statue of Liberty, you would be required to put in place a statue of charity. So we've got a real fight on our hands. And I think, Linda, we're going to carry the day, but I encourage everybody that's listening to this broadcast. I'm coming to you from, literally, Pleasant Grove City, Utah, to talk to you about how important this case is and how significant it is.
Well, and you said it, Jay, that this one has the right facts in the case to be the real decisive case, and that's what makes it even that much more important, because it could be the final word on this. It has all the right elements for that. But, you know, when we talk about these displays, it's worth even talking about some of the elements inside these displays. Take a look at what's being attacked here. It's not just the Ten Commandments. If you look up in here, you see the Eye of Providence there. That's part of the Great Seal of the United States. That was accepted by the United States Congress, I think it was in 1782. You see the eagle, which of course is another icon.
It's like, wait a minute, isn't that graven image the god of the Egyptians that Yahweh delivered us from? Now, what is the graven image of the god of the Egyptians doing on the Ten Commandments? You can't justify it. Ten Commandments isn't something you play with for financial or political gain. These are real, and it has a consistent history that warns people that you don't mess with these things. That's why it was kept in an ark, not on display next to Dagon. It was kept in an ark, so they wouldn't have the possibility of being defiled or profaned.
You see the eagle, which of course is another icon. The flag of the United States, you have universal religious symbols, Judaism, all of Christendom, Star of David, 2 stars of David, the Pax symbol in Latin, the symbol of all of Christendom. You've even got etchings that reflect a 1956 iconic film, American film. These tablets are actually the ones that appeared in Cecil B. DeMille's film,
Right.
called The Ten Commandments.
Right.
It's an iconic film of American, contemporary American culture. So take a look at what they're attacking. They're not just attacking the Ten Commandments. They're attacking an expression of American culture. And what's at risk here is the right of every town and village, not just cities, municipalities, little hamlets in America. And that has a lot to do with every town has the right to put something like this up.
And we're here at Pleasant Grove City and actually in Pioneer Park. The 2 senior lawyers with the American Center for Law and Justice that worked this case up all the way, including now the Supreme Court of the United States, are with me. Frank Bandy, of course, senior counsel for the ACLJ, and White as well. You both worked this case up from the beginning. We're now at the Supreme Court of the United States. Literally, we'll be at the Supreme Court just a few weeks after this program airs. Let's talk about the significance of this. There's been all these challenges on the Ten Commandments before. Interesting in this case, they brought in not just the Ten Commandments, Frank, but they also brought in the September 11th monument.
It's important to note in this case we've got the support by friend of the court briefs filed by groups that usually are not on our side.
Right.
They understand the implications of this. We've had groups representing Jewish organizations that point out, wait a minute, Holocaust memorials are typically donated by private groups put on public property. Think about what the counter to such a memorial would be. It's a permanent monument. So if you want to put up a Adolf Hitler monument, civil rights groups recognize. So if we have a statue of Martin Luther King, who else do we have to put up on the opposite side of that? Of the Ku Klux Klan. Right. That's why this case is about much more than just a little Pioneer Park in Pleasant Grove.
You have these countermeasures. What does that look like for the American landscape?
That would look contrary to what America's all about.
The 10th Circuit Court of Appeals opinion stands, folks. Next to this monument right here, some group could come in and say, we want a monument to Al-Qaeda.